Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. So I came across this beautiful video, medical racism and all that. I still will never get over the fact that Black people are still going through medical racism to this very moment. That a doctor that is supposed to treat you or give you the right medication is not doing the right thing. Why? Because of who you are, because of your skin color. Black women, black men also stand they have high, especially black women, high chances of, of medical racism, especially during childbirth and all that, right? So I remember also a video that I brought here sometime about IQ babies or something like that. ICU babies. I can't remember the right word, but I am sure you all know what I am talking about. Premature babies that are still that were incubated, I don't know if that is the right for incubated, incubating or something like that, but please just do not judge me, right? That a nurse has been going in there and their bones, especially people that look like me. And all these things are going on for a longer time, not until she was caught. I don't know how many babies she may have broken their bones. All these things are the things my own people experience till this very moment. You know what? Let's get into this video.
I'm well aware that what I'm about to say could get me in a lot of trouble, but I think it's important enough to say. I'm a labor and delivery nurse, and I treat my Black patients differently. I've seen nurses, especially labor and delivery nurses, online saying things like, I'm colorblind, I don't treat my patients any differently, meaning that they don't treat their Black patients worse than they treat their white patients. And here's why it's not enough to be a colorblind nurse in 2023. Because I know that in my specialty, labor and delivery, Black women are more likely than any other race to be harmed in pregnancy, childbirth, and beyond. The US is the worst place to have a baby if you're Black in the developed world. Why is this not happening anywhere else? Systemic racism. If you don't believe me, just Google James Marion Sims. So not only are Black women not believed about their pain, not believed about their symptoms, but also they may put off getting something checked out because they don't trust medical providers for good reason. So here's how I treat my Black patients differently. Number one, I don't expect them to inherently trust me because I'm wearing scrubs and a badge, and I don't get offended if they don't. Many Black women are coming in to have a baby already having experiences of not being listened to. And until I'm able to prove to them that I'm someone that can be trusted, they shouldn't trust me. More than my white patients, I emphasize the fact that I will always believe them. Yes, my white patients know also that I will believe them, but I really, really drive it home that I promise you that I'm going to believe everything that you say. I include every single person in the room who is supporting this patient in a conversation about preeclampsia, even if they don't have it. Because preeclampsia is one of the leading causes of maternal mortality in the United States. And preeclampsia can happen even after you've had your baby. I tell them about the symptoms, and I also tell the support people that if you hear her saying any of these things, make sure that she gets seen. And if when she gets seen, you don't feel like she's being listened to, go somewhere else. I let them know that I'm here to be their birth bouncer, and that I'm not going to let anyone do anything to them, only for them and their baby with their permission. I can neither confirm nor deny whether I have slapped a provider's hand away when the patient said no. I don't know anything about that. I have no hard data to back this up, but I have a hypothesis that Black women are not being repositioned in labor as much as white women. So my patients know, and I will say this, that I'm going to turn you like a rotisserie chicken, because movement is gold in labor, especially after you have an epidural. If when we have a baby, I don't like the amount of bleeding that I'm seeing, I am early talking to that provider about, hey, what do you think about maybe giving a little bit of Cytotec? What do you think about putting in a J0KE? Because postpartum hemorrhage is the leading cause of maternal death. I will always use whatever privilege I have to make sure that my patients are heard. That's why it's so important to treat your Black patients differently. And if you're a colorblind nurse, you're part of the problem. Anytime that I talk about Black maternal mortality on these interwebs and how we as healthcare providers must treat our Black patients differently, there's always a comment like this. several actually. And it can be frustrating. That's not even the right word. I don't even have the right word. It can be, insert whatever I'm feeling right now, to read these comments, because it just proves how much farther we have to go to make sure that Black and brown women are treated based on their risk. Because that's what it is, right? Black and brown women are 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, as likely as their white counterparts to have adverse outcomes / death in and around childbirth. So, in seeking to be a bridge, here's what I want to walk through with you. I want to be your gateway drug to wanting to give equitable care. So because you are a nurse, let's walk something out together. Let's say that you are working on a med-surg floor, okay? You've got basic med-surgy type patients, and I give you an admission. And during this admission that I'm giving you, I say, hey, this person is 4 times as likely as all of your other patients to have a heart attack in your care. What are you going to do about that? Would you maybe put them on the monitor? Would you maybe talk to the doctor about drawing some cardiac enzymes? Would you be in more frequently to assess maybe chest pain level or level of consciousness? Would you do those things? Or would you just treat them just like everybody else? It doesn't mean that you're not checking the blood sugar of your diabetic patient. It doesn't mean that you're not measuring the output on your nephrology patient, but it means that you have nursey assessment skills to understand that the risk that someone is carrying around requires different care. And this mentality is just like the all lives matter type of deflection away from the equitable care that our patients need. I give each one of my patients the care that they need and that they deserve. Does it mean that I take care away from the white lady to give to the Black lady? No. This is not a pie, okay? There's no pie involved in this. But just like if I assess with my nursey assessment skills that my patient is wearing a hijab, that tells me, hey, there might be some cultural considerations that I need to go the extra mile for on this person. Is she or is she not comfortable with males in the room? Because I know that there's a male anesthesiologist on today. That might become an issue, so let's talk about it now. If I know that my patient, statistically, is less likely to be believed in a healthcare setting, how is that going to affect my care? If I know that my patient is less likely to have her pain adequately managed, how is that going to affect my care? And if you use your nursing assessment skills to recognize that the color of someone's skin automatically puts them at a higher risk, and that doesn't affect your care, you should not be treating people. To understand that the risk that someone is carrying around.
Okay, this is I love the point of this video and stuff, but I'm realizing, like, I've had conversations on my Patreon recently about this, and I think this line and this line of thinking is where the information does not translate in like a humanized way, right? Like the 4 times adverse impact, like, we aren't carrying the risk. Yes, epigenetics and stuff impacts our bodies, but like the risk is that we are interacting with people that don't believe us, that think we yell louder, that read the books. Like, it's the books that tell you we don't know our own pain levels. So when you're saying they're at risk, like we're at risk, it's of interacting with harmful healthcare workers. It's not that we walk, like, if healthcare was not based in racism, we wouldn't be carrying around the risk, right? So like, I just want to center where the harm is, who is harmed and how. And it's not that we just walk around like it's not like, oh, we're more likely to experience a heart attack. We're more likely to end up in a place where no one thinks we are at risk, for one. So when it happens, everyone is shocked and no one's prepared and no one believes for a long time. And then boom, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, what you should be doing is watching your coworkers more. You should be talking more to your coworkers, not paying special attention to the Black people necessarily. I don't think it's wrong. I just think the harm isn't coming from within Blackness. And I think that's kind of the message that gets spread with the whole 3 times, 4 times more likely to experience bad stuff from white people. I think we miss like the silent part of racism is that it's silently in there. You got to find it. That's the problem. It's not the Blackness. Blackness doesn't increase our risk. Blackness around white people and white systems designed to oppress us, put us at risk. That's why, like, during segregation, when we had all Black teachers, let's just deal with this first. Check out my Patreon. I know Jen doesn't follow me, so like, it kind of almost like reinforces just like my own thing. Check me out. Places.
To understand that the risk that someone is carrying around.
Okay. This is I love the point of this video and stuff, but I'm realizing like I've had conversations on my Patreon recently about this, and I think this line of thinking is where the information does not translate in like a humanized way, right? Like the 4 times adverse impact, like we aren't carrying the risk. Yes, epigenetics and stuff impacts our bodies, but like the risk is that we are interacting with people that don't believe us, that think.
Well, hello there, mutual. I love you, and if you're offended by this video, I'll take it down. Just inbox me. But I was gonna make a video very similar to yours. The way that she spoke about it was not taking accountability for her own race. In the context of childbirth, which she used, it was as if something's wrong with Black women that need extra care. Now, if it was surrounding bone density, something like that, that is different from other races, we could have worked with that, but not in childbirth. You said everything. Black people are 4 times more likely to die in childbirth, no matter the socioeconomic status and the health status. Meaning that a poor white person is more likely to survive than a rich, healthy Black person. It's medical racism. But in the end of the video, you mentioned the white supremacist system, which I agree with, right? But only on one level. It is not just white people who discriminate against us. But if we're talking about the safety of Black women during childbirth, we're talking about medical racism towards all Black people, right? So to say and only point out white supremacist system, it limits the knowledge of the danger. Yes, white supremacist system put this in place, but it's not just white people that are threatening our lives. And I know when y'all hate when I say I'm against BIPOC unity, but it is a reality you are going to have to live in. And it is not right to limit it to just white people. And you technically didn't exactly do that. You said white supremacist system. But because you didn't say all of it and then just said white supremacist system, people are thinking white. We are in danger from all non-Black people. Whether you want to do the unity or not, they have slurs for us in their culture. That is important. That is an issue. Because if there is a slur that is known in their culture, their race, their ethnicity, whatever. It means there's a long-standing belief that black people are inferior. I need y'all to stop playing like your mamas and your grandmamas didn't tell y'all. I'm saying this because I've always talked about this, because I'm trying to protect you. I'm trying to give you awareness. I'm sorry, it's not just white people that you are in danger of. When you go in there and you get a non-black provider, if you get a non-black provider, you are going to have to always be on your toes, because of how this world was structured to hate black people. That bias is internalized. We are the most hated. We cannot sit here and pretend we're not. White people are not our only threat in the medical field, and all of you know it. 10 out of 10.
Black people, get you a black doctor, a black dentist, black, at the least a person of color. Because my dentist he's Arabic, and I love him. But get you some black medical providers. There is a such thing as medical racism. I just saw the saddest thing. And I bet you if he had a black doctor, that would have been different. My doctor is black. She's a woman, a black woman, and it ain't nothing like being taken care of by a black woman. I have felt better than I have ever felt. And she don't say her, yes, probably. She be like, this what you gonna do. She give me a plan, baby, and I do it, and it gets done. Encourage your family, your friends, get you black providers, okay?
Okay, this is an important comment. Medical racism is definitely something that we have to fight against every single day. It leads disproportionately to our deaths. I've done some videos on this in the past if you're interested in the history of medical racism. I've also shared some tips in the past a few years ago about how to communicate effectively with doctors, particularly as a black woman or a person of the global majority. So let's revisit those. So if you feel like the doctor doesn't believe you, this is a very common thing that happens because there are medical myths from slavery that are still being taught in med schools to students today. So doctors then go on to question black people's realities. So if the doctor doesn't believe you, you can say, it sounds like you're not taking my health concerns seriously. Do you have experience treating other patients with similar symptoms? If they say, yes, I do, then say, great, so what treatments did you recommend for them? They will likely begin providing viable solutions and you can go from there. If you are in serious pain and you're requesting pain medication, but the doctor just thinks you're there to get narcotics for a drug addiction, this is a very common assumption placed on black women in particular. You can say, to be clear, I'm not looking for any particular type of medication. I'm looking for whatever's gonna be best at treating X. What would you recommend? If for some reason that doesn't work, you can say, okay, please write it in my medical records that I reported to you that my pain level was a 9. I requested pain medication multiple times and you are refusing to provide it. Having lack of care documented is critical, especially if your symptoms get worse, if they become life-threatening. Now you have a paper trail showing all of the times that this could have been prevented and wasn't. Also, I just want to mention that you have the right to access your medical records at any time. Just contact the provider, the hospital, whomever it is. You can call. Some places have an online portal where you can just easily download your medical records. But either way, you as the patient have the right to your own medical records at any point in time. If you feel like you're getting superficial suggestions for something that feels like a serious internal issue, if they're just saying things like, put ice on it or take ibuprofen, you can say, I understand how that might address the symptom in the short term, but I'm really interested in discussing how we can identify and address the root cause of the issue. If you feel like the doctor is rushing you or is distracted, you can say, listen, I understand you're busy, but I need about 10 minutes of your time to focus on my situation. Remember that in any interaction with any doctor, the topic of conversation is your life. The doctor is simply there to guide you to a correct medical solution. but we're talking about your life. You are in the driver's seat. So be confident, be clear, be committed to leaving with whatever it is that you came there for, whether that's a prescription, a referral, more testing. It's your life.
When it comes to treatment, compliance, or adherence, research shows that when Black patients are treated by Black doctors, they fare better. They adhere to their treatment better. They follow instructions better because obviously they're going to identify with the doctor more. They're going to feel listened to. They're going to feel, that this doctor understands what's happening. They may share a lot more of the socioeconomic backgrounds. All those things go into factor that when somebody is seeing a doctor that looks like them, they're going to be more compliant. And there's research to show this. Also, we all know about the research that came out, I think a couple of years ago, that showed that surgeons had better outcomes. Female surgeons had better outcomes with their patients versus male surgeons. So this comment like this is, quite frankly, just common sense. If you have a doctor out there who thinks that doctors who look like me, women doctors, minority doctors, do not perform at the same level as the white males and apparently are getting special treatment in residency and medical school and getting special tests and special exams, which do not exist, by the way. How are they going to feel about their patients? If they already have those biases against their educated colleagues, how are they going to feel about the masses? Most likely, they're going to hold those same biased views, probably even worse, and they're not going to necessarily listen to their patients as much. They're probably not going to believe them as much. They're probably going to think, oh, she's being so dramatic. Oh, she's exaggerating. Oh, there's all these biases that they have against us, obviously, that are going to lead to poorer outcomes. And it's really sad, but that's just the reality. I mean, I honestly was very naive to the racism that existed in healthcare, being that I was an African child. I was very naive up until I got to my last part of medical school, where we had this Black dean who told me to get my shit together and realize that I was not a white man, that I was not white, and I had to perform at a different level. And then in residency, when I still hadn't listened and I still hadn't realized, and I was still playing naive, I really realized how blackety black I was, because the things that happened to me, I'm not saying I was a perfect resident, but when you're in residency and you look a certain way, things that you do, any mistakes that you make are going to be looked at differently than if you are the majority. It's really unfortunate, but that's just how it goes. And you would hope that with more education, people become a little more liberal in their mindsets and hold less racist views. But honey, I'm telling you, I've been in this field now for 20 years, and there's plenty of racism still there. And that's why we're still failing out at a much higher rate in residency than in medical school, because we go from taking a bunch of tests in medical school, objective paper tests, and go to residency, and it's mostly subjective evaluations. So, it all comes together. So yeah, if he feels this way about colleagues, of course, he's going to feel a certain type of way about the patients.
This is all I got from this video. You see, medical racism is something that, at some point, I was like, how can, when I started learning, talking about Black history, Black experience, and all that, and started bringing different videos. At first, I was like, how are people doing this? And then I found that it's also my people's experience. Because, see, I didn't know how to explain this to Black people, but I just hope sometimes you all, we just are I'm looking for the right word to use, no matter how angry you are at us, right? I just hope sometimes that you kind of, lessen your anger and understand that if we did not start making our own research and start finding things for ourselves, by ourselves, I wouldn't say that we wouldn't believe, but all these things are movies, things you see in movies. It comes like it is not real, but it is real because I talk about all these stories every day. There are some days that I see some of them and I ask myself, are these real? Like, I am also in doubt of, I am doubting myself too. When I also know that it's true, right? I also see some people in the comment section sometimes trying to tell me that maybe I am acting all this up. Sometimes I get angry, but also I cannot relax. And feel like, okay, I understand that I also feel like this because some of these things are things that people will never imagine that are happening. But sincerely speaking, they are happening, you know? So sometimes I am like, how are people like this? It's just like the story that I brought here sometime about a woman who has been in I think ICU or IQ, something like that, premature babies that they give birth to, prematurely. And a nurse is in that room doing something to the bones. All these things are the things you sit down and you imagine, how are human beings doing it? Is this really possible? It's only someone that is not into this, trying to find out all these things. There are people that I tell these stories, they'll be like, it's okay, don't tell me more. I tell my friends some of these stories, they don't tell me more. They start fidgeting, they start having goosebumps, they start having swelling heads and all that. I can understand. But each day we wake up, there is something new. There is something happening. There is something going on somewhere that is affecting people that look like me. And I ask myself, why are, the problem most times is that these people do not even pass the message across. They come out to talk about, the things going on. This is what my people are experiencing. The awareness should be more on your people. Are you reporting? Are you telling them? Are you saying this is not okay? Sometimes it's not about also coming online to tell us. Are you telling the appropriate people that are, or telling them that first off, this is not okay to do to any human being? Because how am I supposed to go to hospital? And I am not even sure if I'm getting the right prescription and all that. Why? Because of who I am. Sometimes they are hard to, okay. Like Crystal Black said, I still remember what she said vividly. She said, sometimes, not just all these white people, because it's like something that, because I have also brought videos of other people. It's only black people that I have never seen videos of black doctors. I am not saying we are perfect human beings, but you will never or rarely see video. I have never see video of a black doctor trending, or a black nurse, black doctor. Let me even use black doctor trending, that a black doctor refuse to, give you the right prescription or do the right thing that they are supposed to do to you as a doctor or something, to whether a white person or a black person or a person of color. But it is only black people that even a person of color will even write your name, King Kong or Monkey, on it, just to make you feel like you are not welcome where you are supposed to have treatment. In 2025, we are still experiencing all this. I will draw the curtain here. Bye for now.